Trump is demanding voter ID. I mean, you'd think that like he's ending the world by the way the left is acting. I just got a whole bunch of things lighting up on my phone from the New York Times saying this is absolutely a violation of executive power. You can't actually ask people for ID when they go to vote. A little odd, but that's their story and they're sticking to it. This is a big deal. Let me show you.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order for your attention on the very important subject of election integrity. We believe that this executive order is the farthest reaching executive action taken in the history of the Republic to secure our elections. Among numerous other aspects of this executive order, this is going to cut down on illegal immigrants on the voter rolls, ensure that the Department of Homeland Security and the data that they have available is being fully weaponized to ensure that illegal immigrants aren't voting. This will include a citizenship question on the federal voting form for the first time. This executive order instructs the EAC to cut federal funding to states that don't take reasonable steps to secure their election. This calls on the Department of Justice to vigorously prosecute election crimes, particularly in states that we don't believe are in compliance with federal law around election integrity. I could go on and on for a while, sir, but compliance with National Election Day rules, cracking down and investigating and prosecuting foreign interference in our elections, revoking President Biden's Executive Order 14019, which essentially weaponized government to corrupt and pollute our election process. There's a lot in here, but we believe that these are very important steps that we need to be taking as an administration at your direction to ensure that our elections are as secure as they possibly can be.
Okay, you all understand that? Yes. Election fraud. You've heard the term.
Okay, so he's signing the executive order.
Please.
This is a big deal. I mean, they're saying this could be one of the biggest deals ever. I'm just saying, like, it shouldn't be what they're making it into. I did some research, and if you go around the world, like every major country requires ID when you go to vote, whether you're in Germany, whether you're in France, whether you're in Italy, whether you're in India. I mean, India can figure out that we probably need IDs when people go to vote. Canada, I mean, come on. Although I guess in Canada they have some kind of special exception where if somebody vouches for you, you can still vote. This is nuts. I mean, I'm sorry. What's really going on here? Think about it. Why is it an issue? Why is it that they don't want people to have voter ID? I guess, yes, going back in time, a lot of years, there was a time when a portion of the population wasn't sophisticated enough to maybe have a driver's license or a passport or even just like some little national ID card of some sort. Like, listen, you can't get into a building anywhere in the country right now without showing proof of ID. You can't get on a Greyhound bus without proof of ID. The whole world has changed. I was thinking about it. I remember when I was first in school, I went to a conservatory because I studied music before going to Columbia to study history and economics. But I remember somebody like posting their ticket to Chicago on a bulletin board at the conservatory. Like they had, you know, an airline ticket and they were like, I'll sell you the airline ticket because they couldn't make the flight. And you used to be able to do that, right? You could buy somebody else's ticket. Like this is going back a while, but times have changed and now everybody has IDs. Like you can't tell me that somebody doesn't have an ID. And why are you trying to protect that? Unless, I don't know. Think about the 800,000 people that they wanted to be able to encourage to vote in New York City elections that didn't have IDs, that weren't citizens. Heck, they may have IDs in New York, right? Because the DMV is all too willing to comply. That's a whole other issue that Pam Bondi's been looking into. Well, if they want people to be able to vote in local elections, I think that tells you everything that you need to know. That's why they wanted all of these open borders, despite the fact that, again, nowhere else in the world do they have open borders, even in super duper liberal EU territory. You know, only within the countries that are part of the EU do they have those open borders. But if you go from a EU country into a non-EU country, guess what? The borders are tightly controlled. Australia has really, really tight border control. Look, it's not easy in Canada. It's not easy anywhere else. You can go to Mexico, for goodness sakes, and find tougher border control right there in Mexico than you can. I mean, going north is probably fine. It's going south. That's the issue. Then you can find here in the United States. So why the big deal? Think about this. Why are they going to fight him on? Well, first of all, they're going to fight him on everything, right? Up is down, down is up, night is day, day is night. Anything that Trump says, even if they agreed with it before, is suddenly no-go territory. I mean, think about just all the clips I've showed you about Obama and Hillary Clinton and everybody saying that they did not believe in illegal immigration. How many years ago? Not too long ago. It was just pre-Trump. And then all of a sudden Trump comes along and he's like, immigration's an issue. And they're like, no, immigration's not an issue. We want to make sure that everybody can come here. And they're going to keep on coming in and in and in. And sure enough, they did keep coming in and in and in. Look at this graphic from Axios. This is Border Patrol apprehensions on the U.S.-Mexico border. And take a look at this little number. Okay, so you're going back all the way to, this goes back quite some ways. Let's see here. We've got it all the way back to the year 2000. So this is the last 25 years. Who did it escalate the most under? None other than one Joe Biden. It's incredible. I think this sort of tells a very, very big story here. And now you're looking at just 8,326 crossings, despite having seen nearly 300,000 crossings under one Joe Biden. So think about that. As he works aggressively to make sure that we do have IDs when it comes to vote, what is the harm here? What is the problem? We are no longer living in an era where people do not have access to identification, okay? Like, everybody has some form of ID. And if you don't, you probably ought to get one. This shouldn't be that hard. I mean, sometimes I'm like, it's crazy that I'm even talking about this, that we even have to talk about this. But there's no common sense there anywhere because it's just their TDS. But I'll tell you, common sense exists in the rest of the country, guys, does it not? Take a look at the latest and greatest out of CNN. I told you, they're having to admit it right now because if you look at the new polls, there's one out of Marist, guess what? Huge numbers for Trump. In other words, Americans like what he's doing.
Let's take a look at the percentage of the country who say that we're on the right track. It's actually a very high percentage when you compare it to some historical numbers. What are we talking about? According to Marist, 45% say that we're on the right track. That's the second highest that Marist has measured since 2009. How about NBC News? 44%. That's the highest since 2004. Wow. The bottom line is the percentage of Americans who say we're on the right track is through the roof. And if you were to compare it to when presidents have historically been reelected, of course, Trump is not constitutionally eligible to run for re-election, but I think it sort of puts it in perspective. 42% of the country says the country is on the right track when the incumbent party is re-elected. And also keep in mind, back when Kamala Harris lost and the Democrats were turned out of power, only about 27 to 28% of the country said the country is on the right track. The bottom line is right now, a much higher percentage of the country says we're on the right track.
Yeah. Because you know what? We are. Inflation has come down. It's like some kind of miracle. Manufacturing numbers are going up. Border crossings, way down. And yet the left wants to pull little antics like I suspect they're pulling with this whole Signal app thing. Listen, you know what? CNN doesn't understand it and they can't believe it, but actually voters approve of these deportations. Yeah, like 63%. They've got their jaws on the floor over at CNN as they look at this data.
63%, according to the latest Fox News poll, say that they favor deporting those immigrants. So that's a pretty high number. Can you square that with what we just heard from Priscilla's reporting?
Yeah, I think that obviously the president has kind of blanketed the airwaves with saying that all of these people deported are criminals. And given the fact that we, reporters like Priscilla, we have very limited information to who exactly has been deported. The government has not handed over names. I know CBS got a hold of a list of names, but that hasn't been provided to those who are asking for who was actually deported. And there is a difference between someone who came into the country illegally versus someone who overstayed their visa. That's not a crime versus someone who has no criminal record, no criminal history.
Okay. I'm going to go back to something that's sort of simple or should be kind of simple. And that's that, there's a legal way to come into the country. And there's an illegal way to come into the country. And we're for the legal way of coming into the country, just like the Democrats used to be. I mean, what has happened to this crazy world other than TDS on steroids? But I'll tell you, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy when AOC is now the leader of the Democrat Party. Yeah, according to a new poll here, CNN, in conjunction with SSRS, conducted this thing in early March. And what did they find? One, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is leading the pack. I mean, followed by Kamala Harris, which is just a sad state. Like, honestly, you know what? You guys keep doing that all day long because we'll just keep winning and winning and winning and winning. When you have AOC and Kamala Harris, the communist Bernie Sanders and Hakeem Jeffries, who, by the way, is all over the airwaves going on and on about this signal thing. Wow, Barack Obama. And Lordy, you got Jasmine Crockett.